You don't want veggies in your chicken soup? Got it, kids? Kids are awesome at malicious compliance. But it is a two-way street. My kids can be picky eaters at times. My wife made some dang good chicken soup, but the kids were complaining that there were veggies in their chicken soup. They hate veggies make them sick, and they wanted my wife to pick them out of the soup. We tried to tell them that good chicken soup needs veggies to taste good, but they were being stubborn. I'm sure other parents can understand. I told the kids, if you really hate the taste of veggies, I'll make soup tomorrow, and you guys can make sure I only put stuff in you like. They liked that idea, at the time. The next day, I get the pot filled with water, all the typical soup ingredients out, and gathered the kids. I asked for their approval on every item. Chicken, yes. Salt, yes. Black pepper, no, gross, too spicy. Celery, no, I can't even stand the smell. Onions, no. It went on with that, with them rejecting parsley, bay leaves, and other veggies. The total contents of the pot ended up being chicken, water, salt, noodles. After the soup was done cooking, I served it up and they excitedly started to eat. A few funny faces later, and one of them said, it tastes weird, this isn't very good. I said, but I only put in everything you guys approved. I think, from now on, I should make the soup, right? They looked at each other and said, can we have mom's soup instead? Since that day, they haven't complained about finding veggies mixed in the food. Sure, they almost always eat around a carrot or green pea, but they understand that it adds flavor. Now to the comments. What a good dad, teaching your children a valuable lesson in a nice way. Bravo. A method that doesn't involve starving them. Very creative. Luckily, I made a compromise with my mom, after winning the Battle of the Peas back in '03, that if I didn't like the vegetable served, I could opt for an extra helping of salad, which I loved. To this day I prefer most of my veggies raw over cooked. That's actually a very good idea. Maybe it could also be a gateway to introduce them to cooking at some point. Cooking is such a valuable life skill and everyone should learn at least the basics. OP replied, I just had that talk with my eldest. One of the mandatory electives at school is going to be a health and cooking class. He really doesn't want to take it. I asked him, do you think you will never have to cook for yourself or your family? Why do you not want to take it? His response was he doesn't want to be forced to eat something he doesn't like. I told him that they aren't going to force him to eat it, but I suggest he taste it so he understands food better. Another good argument might be that once you can cook, you are free to decide exactly what goes into your food. Also, the person who cooks gets the final word on what's for dinner. Back when I was a server at a restaurant, we had an amazing lentil soup that this regular's kid adored, but the kid claimed he hated lentils. So, the regular, kid's dad, and I would talk all about how I spent so much time picking the lentils out just for him. Of course, I did no such thing, it was just a regular cup of soup, but the kid didn't know what a lentil was, so he was always happy to get his lentil-free lentil soup. I make twice-baked potatoes in a cast-iron skillet. They have all the usual twice-baked potato goodness in them: butter, sour cream, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder and a large amount of sharp cheddar cheese. I knew my 3-year-old, at the time, wouldn't get anywhere near them if she knew what was in them. So, I just told her that they were special potatoes and she ate them and loved them. Fast forward 10 years. She's at a friend's house for dinner. Lo and behold, they serve up something very similar. My kid pipes up with, "Oh, these are special potatoes. We have special potatoes at our house," etc. Though the name of the dish was special potatoes, like you would say tuna casserole or chicken salad. I got a hearty laugh out of that one. I need to start making special potatoes in my cast iron. Never thought about that. Also, This is a really cute story and it is what I will call them from now on. Am I the only one who grew up not hating veggies? I mean, I certainly disliked certain ones, still do, but dang would I munch down on some peas/carrots/broccoli. OP replied. A lot of my colleagues and neighbors are vegetarian and from India. Most of them have given up on forcing their kids to eat the same way. I think there is a peer pressure/culture among kids here in the US to hate veggies. When I went on a trip to India, I saw plenty of kids eating fully veg meals with no problem. r/DeliciousCompliance would probably love this too. Great story. Doesn't sound delicious. Sounds yucky. Gross or not, this would fit right in. It's about food. Love it. Reminds me of when my former so complained that I put too much garlic and onion in the pasta sauce, and surely the vinegar, honey, pepper and other herbs were not necessary. So, I let him make a sauce from scratch one day, just as he thought it should be. There were Italian herbs in there, and salt. But nothing to spice it up, nothing to add the touch of sweet, sour and savory that makes it all so delicious. He eagerly started to eat and his face fell immediately. This tastes like cardboard. Never complained about my recipes again. Instead, he jokingly started complaining on how I ruined his appetite for prefab pasta sauces in jars and he only ever wanted mine anymore. Ha ha. A bit off topic, but I get a little bit of sadistic pleasure out of the thought of my ex missing my cooking. His wife cannot cook at all. After our very bad, very messy, horrible breakup, we both ended up at a potluck that I didn't know he was attending. His then fiancée was publicly angry with him for getting a third helping of my dish. It made me laugh. Ah ha ha, that's cruel. We ended on a good note and as a result of earlier convenience measures, I had emailed him detailed instructions on each of our most loved recipes so he could also cook them and share the tasks a bit. Once he learned to really absolutely follow the instructions and not give in on whims of uneducated inspiration, the dishes tasted just like I made them. So, he's good, I suppose. My brother hated onions when he was younger. My mom used to put the onions in a blender so you didn't realize they were there. Edit, fixed the tense. OP replied. They are more open to dried spices and seasoning after I did a little guess the food game with them. They identified basil and oregano as smells like pizza, and garlic powder as smells like garlic bread. Now it is more like I'm okay with the taste as long as the veggies aren't chunks. I think it is a bit of a texture thing for kids. Oh, absolutely. I'm 30 in July and still have texture issues with food. What helped me to be a lot more adventurous, even though I'm still fairly picky, is my parents asking me what I didn't like about the food I was complaining about. Was it bitter, or sour? Was it too squishy or grainy? Being able to describe what it is I don't like about something helps me to figure out if it's just the way it's been prepared or the food itself. If it might be the preparation, I'll be more willing to try the same food again another way. I still hate most beans, but I know that I can tolerate them much better if they're being cooked from fresh or frozen than canned or dried. I know that tomato will never be acceptable in any form, nor will peppers, and that might be a sign of an intolerance for me. I adore spinach, but never give it to me frozen. I can't stand it. I also know that your tastes change on average every 7 years, so even to this day, I'll give things I hated another shot. Used to hate bacon, now it's wonderful so long as it's crispy. I hate that fatty texture. So, prompt what my family called the one-bite rule and ask them to describe why they do or don't like it. It's helpful to know both sides, both for you and them. That's a fantastic lesson on so many levels for kids. Picky eaters who are exposed to cooking skills early usually get over that hump pretty quickly, especially if they taste before and after adding different ingredients. I see people saying just blend up the vegetables. That's great too. in certain instances, but I love how you used this case to teach them why the veggies were in there. A++ parenting. Lol. I thought you were going to make them another soup and blend it so they wouldn't see the veggies. That's what I would have done, lol. OP replied. I do put shredded carrots in the tomato sauce for spaghetti. I don't think they have caught on yet. My dad used to make great soup. He would split the soup in half and blend half of it and then put it all back together again. It was awesome.